Hi, everybody. This is Teresa Sullivan, and I'm doing a kind of a somewhat glorified show and tell today, all about white heart beads. I'll first introduce you to the Wanted on Six Planets necklace. This doesn't have white hearts on it, but it does have striped beads, and I'll save the striped beads for a future episode. White hearts have an interesting history. They began as, well, I'll show you some white hearts first, so you know what I'm talking, have a visual on what I'm talking about. These are not white hearts. These are. They come in all shapes and sizes. These are tubes. The rest are seed beads, and you can see the variety of sizes. These are brand new, within the last few years, production from the Czech Republic, and they have a star-shaped core of white glass with a colored overlay, and they come in all different wonderful shades of the rainbow. I use those in these bracelets because what I like to do is show the, use something that you can see the white heart on when you use it. They have a long history. According to a couple websites, they go back as far as the year 1480 when they started making them. And the reason was primarily that glass that is red in that wonderful true red, bright, super red color requires actual gold. I mean, the mineral gold to get that color, which is expensive. So they knew that if they could start on the inside with another cheaper color that's cheaper to produce, they could overlay the color on it. And if you use white on the inside, it makes it even brighter. The way they began, and white is not an easy color to create in glass, especially not in the 15th century. So what they started doing was using kind of a bottle green as an inside color. These are hard to see, but these are actual green hearts that are super tiny seed beads. And those were produced as well up until I think about 1805, says one website. So if you find green hearts, as they're called, they're very old. A friend of mine, Jeannie Bard of Newport, Oregon, who used to have this wonderful bead store called The Original Bard, gave me these, and I'm floored. They are exquisite. She even included, she had the original packaging, which is, as you can see, deteriorated. And yeah, people want money for them. What can I say? But they're truly just part of the history of trade beads, because they were manufactured in Murano, Italy, and later in the Czech Republic and in France, and traded to all parts of the globe, just about. They're loved and used by native people, original inhabitants of North America and South America, and as far as I know, in South Africa, they like them a lot too. This is a necklace. Again, these are white hearts, just the red and then blue beads. I found this at a thrift store in Olympia, Washington, and it's looking like somebody was either trying to make it look like it was made by a native person, or, inspired by, or maybe they actually were a real live native person and they thought this would make a really cool necklace. There are people who do reenactments of, I don't know, fur trapper era kind of stuff that are also interested in this kind of thing, and apparently provide a market for this kind of bead even now. But I just like them because they're cool looking. And back to the reason why they're so expensive, it's funny because originally they were made to save money, the white core, to save money on the expense of making beads with the expensive materials. And now they're sought after because of that. So basically I'm going to start beading, doing some beadwork with these while I speak, so I can, I don't know, be useful or something. But the really you'll find examples of the use of white heart seed beads and larger beads all over the world. They're also known as cornalline d'Aleppo, and the original term might have been derived from the usage of the effort to replicate the carnelian stone in beads, and what happened a lot was traders would, go to an area that they weren't familiar with, bringing beads, hoping that the local people would be interested in those beads and want to trade things like gold for them so they could go back home and make more beads, right? And one of the things I heard about, for example, the Lewis and Clark expedition, was that they brought a ton of, well, not literally a ton, but they brought many pounds of beads with them so they could have something to trade with people for food on the way west. And if they didn't bring the right beads, the people that they met were not going to just feel sorry for them. They're just going to let them starve. So theoretically, if Lewis and Clark had not brought the right beads along, they may have not made it to the West Coast like they did. They may have perished. So this is just kind of an improv as we go. One of the fun facts about the color red is that it is expensive to produce, whether or not you use real gold. I once worked at a bead store and I had some beads that was ringing up for a lady who I thought I had to explain to her why the red beads were so much more expensive. And she said, "Oh no, don't worry about it. I know all about it. My husband owns a body shop, where they repair cars and do custom paint jobs on cars." And she said, anytime a car needs a red paint job, it's a lot more expensive. The actual paint is a lot more expensive than any other color of paint. So the idea that it takes special minerals that cost lots of money to produce this wonderful red color is still a reality. And of course, you'll see that there are plenty of beads and other colors other than red that have this white core. Well, again, it goes back to the fact that it makes the color brighter. It's a translucent color, so the white shows through, so on. On these star core beads, if you look at them closely, you can see little ribs of faint, lighter purple color. That's where the white is closer to the surface than it is on the in-between spots. So that's another fun feature of those white star core beads. On these bracelets, I use the star core beads, and you have to get up really close to see that they are star shaped on the profile on these beads that I used. But hey, you can see there's some kind of stripy effect too with the translucence with the star core. So it's, hey, if it gets maybe if somebody looks at it closely, you'll meet a new friend. Or if you're wearing something that somebody stoops to look at and asks you about, and you have to point out things about it to them, start a conversation, right? So yeah, white hearts are fun. They are made by, let's see, I have other white hearts. I've got a pretty decent stash. In other colors, and these two in particular were labeled as made in France. And France had bead factories that were producing until, as far as I know, again, I'm not a scholar about this. I'm not like super hardcore knowledgeable about this. But as far as I know, having worked in bead stores and having seen that what was available up until some point and then not, the bead factories in France produced until the 90s, and then unfortunately they no longer are in business. So, you know, if you see them and you like them, grab them because you're probably not going to see them again. That's my rule of thumb, even for modern beads. It's funny how frequently a bead, you can take a bead for granted, you see it all the time, and then oop, it's gone. So my modus operandi is buy, if you really, really like something, buy all you can afford and use it. Don't just let it sit on the shelf. And mix it up too. Why not get some combinations going? So I'm not sure what, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I should say about white hearts. There probably is, but that's all right. If I can't think of it now, I'll think of it later and I'll add it to the next video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Send questions. I might not have the answer, but I can look it up. Thanks a lot. See you next time.